Parkins. I'm with Frack Free BC, which are trying to encourage British Columbia to ban fracking, which is a process of extracting fossil gas from deep underground using high pressure water, which permanently contaminates the water. And the methane that they extract from the rock leaks into the atmosphere, contributing seriously to global warming, much more than carbon dioxide, like about 86 times more than carbon dioxide. So RBC here is the biggest funder of fossil fuels in Canada, fossil fuel extraction and industries. And we are here in advance of their annual general meeting to try to encourage them to stop funding something that is ruining our planet for all of us. Pretty much non-existence. It's interesting that not only industry, particularly the fossil fuel industry, but government seems to only be able to think about this far in front of their face. And, what about the environment that we leave for our children and our grandchildren? We can already feel the effects of global warming. Our summers here every year get worse and worse. Last year, we spent 6 weeks basically locked up inside our house. We couldn't garden, we couldn't golf, we couldn't be outside because the air was too toxic, even though we weren't here threatened by wildfires, but our community was inundated with people who were evacuated. There is a cause for this, and it is what we humans are doing to our environment, and we don't need to. Here in BC, we are so lucky. We have an incredible amount of clean electricity. BC Hydro creates 95% of its electricity with hydroelectric processes, which do not contribute to climate change. We do not need to burn fossil gas. We do not need to burn fossil fuels. Yes, we need a transition period, but we need to take this seriously. And neither government nor industry are doing that right now, and that needs to change. I think the main reason is greed. I think it's greed and short-sightedness. And it's a lack of creativity. These industries do not care about the environment. They do not care about the atmosphere. They do not care about the water. The thing with one of the huge downsides of fracking is the amount of water that is used that is contaminated and then is permanently removed from the hydrological cycle. Here in BC, most areas are in a stage 5 drought. This is a problem, and we can't do anything about this other than conserve water and the amount of water that the fracking industry is using, and they're not paying anything for it. They are allowed to just put their little hoses into any body of water, river, lake, you name it, and take as much water as they want without any kind of monitoring. You pay water based on a water meter. Why aren't they? This is a form of subsidy that our government, even though they claim that they're going to get rid of subsidies for these damaging industries, they are not. And they need to know. We don't accept that. It's time to get serious. And the other thing the fracking and LNG industry wants, they want free electrical power. That industry takes a huge amount of energy to take natural gas and compress it and liquefy it so that they can export it to a non-existent Asian market. They want a free power line from the Site C Dam. We need the power from the Site C Dam to power our automobiles of our industries. We cannot afford to spend that energy on the fossil fuel industry. Constantly. Fortis BC is looking at losing their business because, the future for us is electrification. Fortis BC does have a small electrical arm in the Kootenays, but primarily Fortis BC exists to sell fossil fuel. They are well aware that their livelihood is on the line. They are spewing misinformation constantly. They have this idea that they can get natural gas from landfills. They call it renewable natural gas, or RNG. Yes, you can get natural gas from landfills. A very, very small amount. The predictions are the maximum we could get is about 3% of what we require. This is a complete red herring. This will never be a solution for us. The solution for us is to electrify. But yes, there's constant misinformation. People have to really put on their critical thinking hats. Whenever you hear something that sounds too good to be true, it probably is. The answer is respect. The answer is respect for all creatures on this planet, human beings, animals, the environment. You know, yes, we need critical, minerals, but we also need to be aware of how we are extracting those and at what cost. And if we are respectful and careful, we can do this without making a mess. But we're not doing that yet. We're still making a mess, and third world countries have contributed to this problem the least, yet they are on the receiving end of the vast majority of the adverse effects already. This needs to change. Well, we can boycott RBC for starters. And I mean, in Jody Wilson-Raybould's book, I was reading a chapter last night, and she talks about the legal thought about acquiescence. That if you don't speak up and say anything, you are acquiescing to the current status quo. We need to tell them that we don't like this. We don't want this. We can't afford this. And time is running out for us. So, I mean, we need to get loud. We need to get together and tell these big industries, these wealthy, powerful people, and our government that we cannot continue on this path. We will not have a planet to live on. And we don't have another one. All of the Canadian banks are, in one way or another, involved heavily in resource extraction, primarily fossil fuel. And so, where do we go for banking services? Credit unions, local small banks that are investing in our communities, which are a better way to go anyway. As we transfer our allegiance to these smaller companies, we need to make sure these big banks know why. Quebec has banned fracking. It took 20 years for activists to get them to ban fracking. And you know what happened? It was when the elected officials realized that they were going to get more votes by banning fracking than they would by continuing to support fracking. That's when it changed. So if RBC feels like they will lose customers, or they will get more customers if they are forward thinking and stop investing in these damaging fossil fuel and other extractive industries, that's when it'll change. When it starts to affect their bottom line, when they understand that we're serious, that we're not gonna take this anymore.